Matariki e ara e, kei ngā māhuetanga iho o te whānau mārama, rarau mai ki te hui. Ko me hingarangi tēnei e mihi atu nei kia koutou katoa. Welcome to the Hui, Māori current affairs for all New Zealanders. E taro ake nei. He mātanga tātai arorangi.
I never would have imagined that I would be able to understand my location in the world by using Mātauraka Māori.
As we celebrate Matariki, we look to the stars with Ngāi Tahu astronomer Victoria Campbell.
For many, they will be exposed to the absolute beauty of our pristine stars.
Then, she's the grandmother who's become a TikTok sensation.
Well, I didn't even know what TikTok was, and I don't watch television.
I said, Auntie, you should put your videos on TikTok. And she goes, what's TikTok?
Clocking millions of views.
I'll show you what it looks like once it's cooked.
We meet Ngāti Porou hunter-gatherer Teresa.
I feel at peace in the bush and in the moana in the sea, so that's what keeps me going.
Tahuti mai. This Friday, Matariki, or the Māori New Year, will be celebrated as a public holiday for the first time. With the public appetite for mātauranga of the whetū growing, Ngāi Tahu astronomer Victoria Campbell is helping to share traditional knowledge with her hapore. She shares her journey of becoming a Māori astronomer as she prepares for a new phase in Aotearoa's history. Kia John Boynton, ngā tai pito pito.
The wonder of the night skies guide Māori astronomer Victoria Campbell.
I never would have imagined that I would be able to understand my location in the world by using Mātauraka Māori and looking up and seeing where the whetū are to be able to locate myself in the world.
The Ngāi Tahu Uri is a passionate practitioner and expert in the field of tātai arorangi Māori astronomy.
When you look to the stars, what is it that you see?
Oh, I see a lot of things. Probably first and foremost, just the absolute beauty of our whetū, including our planets. But I see the pictures to our life story. I'm reminded of those and of my whakapapa and my connection to the whetū and to the universe.
Victoria's journey started after attending a wānanga with renowned Māori astronomer Professor Rangi Mātāmua 12 years ago.
We went outside one night and looked up at the sky and it was absolutely amazing. And I could not differentiate anything. But what it did do was it really sparked a desire for me to learn more about those whetū and to be able to look up and recognise those images, those pictures to our storybooks.
Since then, she's seen the renaissance of tātai arorangi through Matariki, the constellation of stars which mark the arrival of the Māori New Year.
The knowledge doesn't sit in astronomy itself. It sits in other bodies, other disciplines such as mahikakai practices, in our weather kōrero, even in our migration kōrero. I would think of astronomy as one of our cornerstones of Mātauraka, so it's like a foundation stone. It's embedded in everything. It's connected, and through that lens of whakapapa.
After years of studying, teaching and practising tātai arorangi, Victoria has become a leading source for this mātauranga. Today she's teaching the kaiako at Te Waka Unua Primary in Otautahi.
Nōku ke te whiwhi kia tai ki Waikanui i a koutou. So kia ora everybody, my name is Victoria Campbell, if we're being flash, otherwise Tori for short. I think of the science lessons that I was exposed to in school that I struggled to find relevance in those teachings. So when Matariki rises in the east, it symbolises the start of a new season, whereas hearing stories of tamanui te rā shifting between hini takurua and hini raumati. That story I can associate to it.
Victoria was part of the Matariki advisory group to help set up the public holiday.
The first celebration of Matariki, after much advice from our advisory committee, will be on the 24th of June, 2022.
What's it like to be at this stage now we have a public holiday for Matariki?
I shed a tear. I was so proud of where we've got to as a nation for that movement to be happening. But I also know that for many whānau, many hapu, many iwi, we've been celebrating puaka and Matariki for a long, long time. And for me, the real gem in the public holiday is what it symbolises for iwi, and that our mātauranga is being recognised and valued.
With the surge in demand in Māori astronomy leading up to the Matariki holiday, Victoria's been keeping busy. At her latest wānanga, she's been joined by maramataka expert Ricky Solomon.
The feral moon is when the sun and the moon come together in the morning and they rise up together.
And taonga puoro tohunga James Webster. They're part of a community which both inspire and offer support for Victoria.
My favourite things to do is to go and connect with the extended whānau, whānui, and to learn things, to share things, and then go on and share those with the kids, with the community. It's a pretty awesome kaupapa to be on.
But as this kaupapa becomes more public, is there a risk of this mātauranga losing its integrity?
I think the key to it is the values and principles that are associated with not only the public holiday, but with Matariki in general. The environment is a key part in Matariki as a time in our maramataka, but also part of our practice. So if people are mass producing, plastic things that are going to end up in our oceans, printed with Matariki, that does not align with the values and principles of Matariki. And so as communities, we should be not supporting those businesses and calling them out.
Victoria hopes Matariki will drive an appreciation of our whetū and the mātauranga behind them.
I think it's exciting that Aotearoa will be encouraged to look to our skies, and I believe for many they will be exposed to the absolute beauty of the Pacific and of our pristine stars. They need to be valued, and it is a privilege that we are able to see such beauty from Aotearoa.
Ka rere ngā purapura a Matariki.
Nā John Boynton, te rā pūrongo. After the break, we meet the Ngāti Porou grandmother teaching rangatahi how to live off the land. Traditionally, Matariki is a time to harvest and to hakari. And thanks to one Murihiku-based grandmother, a new generation are learning how to harvest kai Māori responsibly and sustainably. Her name is Teresa, and thanks to TikTok, her traditional kai gathering skills are inspiring rangatahi Māori to venture into the realm of tāne mahuta and tangaroa. Kei D'Angelo Martin, te roa ngāke o ngā kōrero.
She's the definition of a wahine toa.
I've been hunting most of my life. Some find it unusual, but this is my normal. I love it.
A grandmother whose pātaka is stocked by papatu ānuku.
I feel at peace in the bush and in the moana and the sea, so that's what keeps me going.
And at 53 years of age, she's unexpectedly become a TikTok star.
So you got your own wee little bags for cooking? Well, I didn't even know what TikTok was, and I don't watch television.
Clocking millions of views.
I'll show you what it looks like once it's cooked. Kia ora.
Ngāti Porou hunter-gatherer Teresa has been living off the whenua all her life.
My parents were lighthouse keepers, John Shanny and Henny Kino. Born on Mokihino Island in the Hauriki Gulf. You had to be semi-self-sufficient. My father fished. The local iwi there let us collect mutton birds, and Mum gathered like paringmo, peko. So I watched them growing up. We're going to dig for tuarua today.
Nowadays, Teresa lives on the mainland, and when she's not at her full-time job at the Tiwai Point aluminium smelter, she volunteers in schools teaching tamariki about nature.
We don't take anything under 100 millimetres because we've got to leave them to breed. I'm concerned for the younger generation, especially with technology these days. It's a lot easier to hand someone a phone or buy them an iPad rather than give them a fishing rod and take them out fishing, because it takes up a lot of your time. I get these children, they'll say to me, all they do is spend time watching television. Is it bigger or smaller than 100 millimetres?
Bigger.
Good girl. So, well done. We've been kai gathering today for kai moana.
Now Teresa is using technology to get more rangatahi out into the taiao.
And these are kākahi. They're freshwater mussels.
Sharing her mātauranga with 100,000 followers on social media.
So he can go back in the water.
On TikTok, she's known as Auntie.
Look at that, isn't that beautiful?
And she accepts requests from followers wanting to go out kai gathering with her.
I have a diary and I have all the names of people that want to come to my home. I have their ages and a wee bit about them. And I have a letter I send out to them to whittle down the ones that just want to come for a holiday and aren't really going to benefit. I want people that are going to benefit from being with me.
A good deed she does for free.
Half the problems we have in today's age is because of money. There shouldn't be a price paid on something that's here for free. The only thing I pay for personally is petrol.
Kia ora, Matariki. Tēnā koe. This week, Teresa has 3 rangatahi and 1 Keenaz reporter in tow, ready to get amongst it.
We're going to drag for flounder today, Matariki. There's a bit of weed on the beach today. That's a concern because you get that in the net.
Teresa follows the same tikanga as her mother, so before we head into Tangaroa, we karakia.
Kawa wini, kawa wana, tāra patu ki te rangi. Hau e ki, whanu, whana, haramai te toki. Hau mi e, hui e, tai ki e.
OK, come out, Michael. You're not going to be able to drag it, and that's because of the weed. So we're going to go and find a spot that's got no weed.
And this is where we learn our first lesson from Teresa about kai gathering. He mana ko te kaura I kore ai.
So no luck this morning, eh?
No, you get that. It's not a supermarket. You just give it a go. We'll have another go later on. A lot of weed in the water today. Always pays to have a sharp knife, eh?
2 of the rangatahi staying with Teresa are Rina Paraone and Brielle Cadwallader.
It's quite therapeutic, eh?
Yeah.
And they're loving their time in Te Waipounamu.
What has Teresa taught you?
I've learnt about giving without expecting anything in return. And also in terms of gathering kai, especially kai moana, just taking what you need.
People don't understand why, and I find the people I have in my home, once you explain the reasons why they gather this way rather than that way, they'll do it that way. They don't at the moment because no one's taught them.
It was Teresa's nephew Michael who gave his auntie the idea to start her own TikTok account.
I said, Auntie, you should put your videos on TikTok. And she goes, what's TikTok? So I showed her a couple of TikToks and I told her people would really be interested in what she does.
See that line along there? Yep. That's where I'm going to fillet it.
And there's always something interesting to film with Auntie Teresa.
And a tea where its tail is. I just take videos of what I'm doing at the time. That's sharp, man. So it's real and relevant. There's no makeup or hair or fancy clothes. It is as we are doing it.
Out there just doing it, Teresa has struck social media gold.
We set her up an account and we posted a video of her eating a kina, and I didn't really think it was going to go too well.
They're beautiful too. They're the nice creamy ones.
Woke up in the morning, thought, oh, I better check this for her. Look at it, it's got a couple 100,000 views. I ring her up, Auntie, you've gone famous on TikTok.
And Teresa's using that fame to advocate for the environment, teaching the next generation to protect papatuanuku.
You don't have to be hunting and gathering to be sustainable. You've got to think about what we're buying, what chemicals we're using when we go to the supermarket, because that's affecting our environment.
She's dedicated to this way of life, and Auntie has no plans to hang up her rifle anytime soon.
The most precious thing you have is time, and one day you're going to run out. You don't know when your number's up. My father was diving until he was in his 70s, so I've still got a wee way to go yet.
Nā D'Angelo Martin te rari poata. Hei muri ngā whakatairanga ka matapaki hea ngā take toi Māori. A major art wānanga, Toi Te Kupu Whakaahuatanga, has been held in Tāmaki Makaurau to coincide with Matariki. Toi Te Kupu Whakaahuatanga aims to celebrate and showcase the transformative power of mātauranga Māori as expressed through art, exhibition making and wider creative practices, while increasing the dialogue between Māori artists on what is critically important in contemporary Māori art right now. Hei matapaki I ngā kaupapa I wānanga hea, ko hono mai a Nico Hinden, rawa ko moana tipa, tēnā kōrua.
Kia ora.
Nico, I'll start with you. How do you place the relationship between toi Māori and Matariki?
I think for across centuries and cultures and disciplines, Matariki has been a source of inspiration for songs, for pūrākau and mahitoi, just thinking of like Macy Dika's beautiful waiata about Matariki. And I think it's a way of recording the knowledge contained in our whetū across time. Mokuake nei, I create star maps that record the movement of stars across our stellar lunar calendar, and I think Matariki was really a catalyst for investigating how our stars move and what are they doing throughout other times that aren't just Matariki.
Ka pai. Moana, if I can come to you, this wānanga, a couple of hundred Māori artists and curators, and you all came together to celebrate, obviously, the toi Māori and Matariki, but also to talk about what was critically important in your industry at the moment. What do you think were the outcomes of that?
Well, one of the questions for me was about the thriving of Māori arts community. And I see that there's been a massive amount of growth over a very long period of time, but we've arrived at a central place, I believe. We've arrived at a point. We have a thriving culture at the top end of the arts, I would say. And it causes a question to arise within me. Do we have all of the necessary streams coming in and going out from this hub, this immensely important hub of vision, of insight, there's a propelling nature that is tied up with Ngā Toi Māori. It's an immense force field in itself. And so I'm interested in the streams that come in and come out of it at this point, when there is such a thriving community up at the top gate. That's really how I kind of perceive things, and I'd like to see other perspectives on that.
How whakaro, Nico, what are your thoughts? So hearing that, what are some of your takeaways, you know, being one of the younger reanga of talent that were there?
Yeah, I totally agree with Moana. I'm very fortunate to have been absorbed into Toi Ngāpuhi, and so Toi Ngāpuhi is our iwi-led Toi institution, and it has meant that I've been able to create relationships with teina, with young taiahui, and teach kind of the new generation and meet the new generation of artists. And I really value the relationships that I've been able to have through Toi Ngāpuhi, but not only having access to the taiahui, but also having access to the likes of Bernard Makuare and those tohunga who have helped me in my practice. So yeah, I absolutely agree.
Moana, if I can come to you, Moana, can you tell me, you know, it felt healthy and wealthy at the wānanga in terms of being able to sustain themselves. Are artists doing well?
Well, again, there's an immense richness there. You know, you kind of, the wealth of that place, the wealth of gathered knowledge, the wealth of all that has been gathered over generations, you know, that has come into this generation, it begs the question of where to? You know, where to? We are a Pacific nation, and I can't help but think of us as a strategic voice coming out of this nation. And that art's voice is visionary. It holds a specific place in any culture, but in this culture, within Māoridom, within the nation itself, within the nations of the Pacific, there's a function, there is a voice that needs to go out, I believe. So that's part of what I see. I see, and I would love to hear other conversations about that, because we have something built here that provides the capacity to expand itself so that we take a nation with us.
Well, I think we've lost Nico. Oh, no, Nico's back. I was wondering, Nico, if you could jump in there after your visitors left, if you could tell us, do you think, you know, Toi Māori and the arts have had a lot of involvement in the revitalisation of Matariki?
Yes, I think so. I mean, I just mentioned Macy's waiapa. I think Mahi Toi is a way of transmitting knowledge and a way of containing knowledge and sharing our mātauranga with our people. And I think that, yeah, and I certainly in my Mahi Toi, I definitely use Matariki as a source of inspiration, and especially this time, if we just think about what Matariki, like the time of Matariki and Pakurua is, it's cold, and it's a time for wānanga, it's a time for learning, it's a time for listening, and it's a time for sharing mātauranga, and that was what was really exciting about having Toi Te Kupu during the time of Matariki, because it was the appropriate time for generations to gather together and learn from each other.
Ka pai. Well, you certainly took the opportunity to have a great wānanga at your hui. We look forward to see what the industry looks like in the next couple of years. Ka nui te mihi ki a kōrua i tēnei rā. Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Ko rehu tēnei whetu marama kātira mā te waiata a mohi tā tātou hōtaka e whakakōpani ake, ara ko te aroha mauro. Noho ora mai rā.
Tuki, te manawa, dere ana, ngā mahara, e rongo ana, te wairua. I tēnei mea, e kia nei ko te aroha, e te witinga o te rā. Taku marama, i te pō, i te rangi nei, ho mai ki au he wahanga. Kia koro wai, tia koe ki te aroha. Tō manawa ko tōku manawa, he manawa ka turuturua. Haerere i te arara, o te aroha mauroa. Haerere i te arara, o te aroha mauroa. Me kohine, ruhi koe, kori kori, rire rire. Nana rai tu te ataha para, e te hina tore whita aho maira. Tō manawa ko tōku manawa, he manawa ka turuturua. Haerere i te arara, o te aroha mauroa. Haerere i te arara, o te aroha mauroa. Tō manawa ko tōku manawa, he manawa ka turuturua. Ko te here o te aroha, he herenga mauroa. Haerere i te arara, o te aroha 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 mauroa.
Ko te reo, te take.
Nā te puna whakatongarewa te hui i tautoko.